We are here basically because I was first here 41 years ago as an Army officer from the U.S. and I had 2 one-year tours here during the war, and decided to come back about 3 years ago. Elaine came with me. We visited the country for 2 weeks 3 years ago, touring it from south to north. Repeated it again last year and decided in that process that we wanted to spend more time here and be of service if we possibly could. So for the last 2.5 months, we've been here in Hoi An, and we've been working for 2 organizations. One an NGO that's based in San Diego. It's split between San Diego and here, and that NGO is called the Global Village Foundation, and the Global Village Foundation specializes, well, they have a number of projects. The project Elaine and I were involved in is furnishing mobile libraries for schools that have no libraries, and conducting workshops to teach teachers how to use the libraries. And the other project we've been involved in is working here in Hoi An in a shop that specializes in training disabled people to be productive and changes their lives. And it trains them basically to be artisans and crafts persons developing handicrafts. And then the shop retails the handicrafts. And we've been working as volunteers in that shop. I've been helping the founder of the organization with business planning and strategic planning. And Elaine's been helping the sales staff learn how to merchandise and learn how to do sales.
Elaine, how have you found your experience with Reaching Out Foundation?
We wandered through Reaching Out on our last trip, and something struck me just on that quick walk through about the environment there. And when we returned, I started to research on the internet and found an application for volunteers. We talked about it, filled out the application. Very quickly they wrote back and said they would love to have us. And it was almost destined that from that quick walk through, we knew that it was an environment where we would really enjoy supporting them and helping them meet their objectives. For us, as a couple, to be able to work on one project and bring our individual skills to that project was really significant. The other significance for me was just beginning to really understand the miracle of these lives changed by the training that they have, which is from 2 to 6 months. After the training, they are able to live independently and to integrate into society. These are people who had, prior to their training, stayed at home and were isolated, had no occupation. Some of them are now even supporting not only themselves but their families. And so our reception there was warm and wonderful. But for me, the most gratifying thing is how much we have learned and how much we will take away with us to integrate into our lives. Each one of the people there has a story that would break your heart. Because of the courage and because of what you see around their ability to compensate for a disability, and it's, the expression they use is abilities, not disabilities. We are, of course, taken by the young woman who we had sponsored through supporters in Canada, and we have actually paid for her 6 months training. So she was a favorite. Right. But we didn't make a big display of that favoritism, but we certainly have watched her over the 2 months become a really strong part of the family. Even while we have been here, we can see her confidence building. She's often had a really stylish haircut, is more open, and we've seen the beautiful things that she has created. She's a seamstress, and it's wonderful.
in an ideal situation, in a perfect world, I would recommend, excuse me, I would recommend that they visit Vietnam before they commit to working and look it over on the ground to find the situation that's just right for them before they commit to it. And short of that, if they can't, if that's not viable, and then just do their research really, really carefully and dig much deeper than the data found on websites here and there.
As in anything, if you're doing your research purely by the written word without having spoken with individuals, the vision that you have in your mind might be quite different than what actually is happening on the project. And I think personalities, whether they're Canadian or Vietnamese personalities, come into play. So that's a hurdle. I think it's a very individual thing, though. For some people to walk into a very well organized project where specific roles and are delineated, and this is what you do, and you go off and you swing a hammer, and that's the project. You're building a school. It's physical labor. It's really clear. For others, if personal relationships are more important, then I think it's a whole different experience than coming in. And what we've found in our experience is that, like with Global Village Foundation, teamwork is really important. You're cast into a group of people, if you're lucky, 2 days before the project begins, and somehow you have to become a cohesive group in 2 days, and off you go. And so for some folks that would be really difficult, not being able to choose the partners on the team